Alright, so it's about 3 days since the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 as of this video, and I have a few things to discuss on this game, especially something that CD Projekt Red did that was really shady, PS4 and Xbox One base version performance, and how they could or could not be fixed. So 3 points, let's jump right into it. Also, I want to point out that this is no way a gaming channel, but I do cover certain games from time to time. So if you feel like my discussions are good enough, just hit that subscribe button and that like button as well. Alright, so let's jump into point 1, which is the shady thing that CD Projekt Red, the developer of Cyberpunk 2077, did a few days before release. So a few days before release, obviously they send out copies to reviewers to review the game, PC reviewers, console reviewers, and they were just for them to do their thing and upload their YouTube videos for people to watch them and get excited about the upcoming game. Basically the job of every major reviewer. But something happened that kind of was a big red flag from the beginning, was that when the reviewers who wanted to test the game out on the base versions of the previous gen console, meaning the fat PS4 and the fat Xbox VCR Xbox One, when they wanted to review the game on those consoles, they were allowed to. However, they were not allowed to upload their gameplay footage onto YouTube or any other platform. They were only allowed to upload the gameplay footage until I think it was until the release date of Cyberpunk 2077, or on to the very second until release of Cyberpunk 2077. So that in its own was really shady, and now you may have seen all over the internet the reason as to that is quite justified. It's because the PS4 and Xbox One versions of this game are basically broken. Frame drops, texture issues, NPCs flying off the maps, crashes, delay in input, every single thing that you could imagine is wrong with this game on base versions of the previous gen consoles. And I see why CD Projekt Red hid this information and told the reviewers not to release their gameplay footage. It's because one simple word that governs everything on this planet. Can you guess what it is? It's pretty easy. Money. It's money. They knew that if they release it for all consoles and PC and everything on day one, they're gonna get a shit ton of money. And that's true, because if you read recent articles, CD Projekt Red said that they covered the cost of production, advertising, and everything within the pre-orders only. Just with the pre-orders, they covered the cost of advertising and production of this game. So everything else they earn from now is just profit. So the card that they played out, and they got rich. However, what they did was a really bad move. They released an unfinished version for PS4 and Xbox One, which plays horribly on the base versions, just for a quick cash grab. And I don't think they use their heads in this, because now their reputation is up to question. People are questioning their reputation. This is further reflected by the recent article that I read, where it said that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other YouTubers also covered this before me, CD Projekt Red stocks have dipped quite a lot. Investors, I think, are pulling out. I'm not too familiar with stocks and stuff. But what I saw is that a lot of CD Projekt Red stocks have gone down after all the PS4 and Xbox One players got angry and started putting bad reviews of it all over the internet, especially Twitter and Metacritic and all the other websites where you can leave reviews. So the previous gen base versions of this, the base version consoles are not having this game that well. It's basically unplayable. So what I feel is that CD Projekt Red pulled a really bad move there. They were greedy for money, and they just released an unfinished version of the PS4 and Xbox versions. And by the way, the PC version, though it runs decently, is not flawless. It's still bringing pretty high-end hardware to its knees. The game looks great, trust me, the game looks great. But as I've seen, it's no way, in any way, great enough to bring a an RTX 390 to its knees. And that's what a lot of people are saying. The RTX 390, the most powerful, well, I don't know if it's the Titan or the RTX 390, but the RTX 390 is probably the second most powerful graphics card on the market right now. And this game is giving that thing a hard time either. So even the PC version is not flawless. Now, as you can see, my gameplay here is on an old Core i7 4770K with a slight overclock. It's got a 1070 Ti for the win, EVGA, and 16 gigs of DDR3 RAM. It's running on medium settings at 2560 by 1080p widescreen. Well, no, 2560 by 1080 widescreen, so it's a widescreen display. And as you can see, it averages from 45 to 50 FPS, which I can live with. But this game is bringing basically extremely powerful hardware to its knees, meaning it's broken somewhere. CD Projekt Red basically released an unfinished game, and I'm playing it without any major hiccups, but people on even lower end PCs, and like I said, the base versions of the previous gen consoles, they're having a nightmare right now. So what CD Projekt Red should do is apologize for this blunder, and I think they've already have done it on Twitter and so on, do a bunch of emails to like reviewers and so and so they're fixing it, and I hope they do really fast, because I feel that this game is gonna be played for a really long time. I don't see a GTA 6 over the horizon, so it's going to be in the spotlight for a really long time, so they can earn a lot more money with people who buy the game later, and they can earn it faster if they fix it faster, and it's better for everyone in general. But I do feel it'll be like Witcher 3 and No Man's Sky, because Witcher 3 and No Man's Sky were games at the beginning were also full of bugs, but eventually over time became really good games. Witcher 3 also, CD Projekt Red worked on that as well. It had a few bugs at the beginning, but now, as we all know, Witcher 3 is an award-winning game. No Man's Sky was a worse disaster than Cyberpunk 2077 because it didn't run properly on PC either. And a lot of things they promised did not exist in the game. But now, over time, No Man's Sky is an excellent game with more features than they promised, and I play it quite often as well. It's a really good game. And what you got to notice is that No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk 2077, they're ambitious games. They're really people waited for these games for a long time, and when they were released, people were upset. But over time, like I said, No Man's Sky became better, and there were also major turning points in the gaming industry, because No Man's Sky was the world's first procedurally generated game, as I believe. There is no limit to the size of the map. It's basically infinity, because the game creates the map as you play along, and it was a new thing at the time. And Cyberpunk 2077, a game with this much detail based on the storyline, has never been seen before. So there are two games that are pivotal points in the gaming industry, and I see the issues that they had, and I hope that just like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk is also fixed. So PS4 and Xbox One base version performance, like I said, they're performing horribly, and I feel that there's more to do with the core structure of the game rather than just resolution and all the other stuff people are discussing. Now, what I mean by that is, now you must have seen all over the internet, people are saying reduce your resolution, it's gonna run better, reduce your texture quality, blah 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 blah, all the graphics settings. People are saying that you reduce them, it's going to run better. And on console, since they're getting such bad frame rates and stuff, that's what console players are trying to do. But I feel that after a certain point, there's not going to be much that they can do. And it's going to be more about the core structure of the game and less about just resolution and texture quality. Now, the best example of this is Saints Row 2. Saints Row 2 was released on the Xbox 360, and a few years later, it got a PC port. And that game, to this day, is still not proper. It's still a disaster. It still brings huge graphics cards like the RTX 390 to its knees, And it's not that the cards aren't powerful enough, it's just that the game is so broken at its core. The patch that was released on PC, basically the game copied to PC from the Xbox, was made so badly that no matter how much you did, how much work you did with the resolution, the texture, the anti-aliasing, and all that stuff, it still runs like crap. It's because the game is broken at its core. And I feel that with Cyberpunk as well, if CD Projekt Red is going to have to make it run properly for the base Xbox and base PS4, they're going to have to go right into the game files and into the engine of the game, take stuff out, put stuff in. They're going to have to fix it at its core, because texture quality and resolution and all that crap go only so far. The game has to be properly functional at its core for it to work properly. That's what the game engine is for. It's for basically having a base to run the game off. And I feel that this is not only going to be the same for the consoles, but I feel that the PC version could also benefit from this. And I feel that hardware such as mine, which is a 4470 and 1070 Ti with 16 gigs of RAM, mid-range hardware like this might benefit and be able to go to 60 FPS with a redesign of the core of the game. It's just something that I want to point out. In addition to actually fixing the game, they should also try and fix this PR nightmare by teaming up with Sony and Microsoft and offering refunds on the consoles. And I think Sony, but on this day itself, today, there are rumors on Twitter that they've started actually issuing refunds for PS4 players, because Sony has never done that before. They usually never issue a refund, but I think they have already started, and I think CD Projekt Red should team up with Microsoft and Sony and start giving out refunds to those who want to get their money back. And I'm pretty sure they'll someday, when the game is fixed, they will buy the game again, but until then they just feel bad right now and they just want their money back. PC users have it way more easy. On Steam, if you bought it on Steam, if you didn't play the game for more than 2 hours, or you've not had, obviously no one's had it up to 2 weeks for now because it's not been 2 weeks since it's launched, but any game, if you've played it for less than 2 hours, you can get a refund, or if you've had it for less than 2 weeks, you still can get a refund. So it's either of the two. But on console, getting a refund is a bit different. You got either people who've bought it on disc, they have to go to GameStop and wherever, and they've got to get a refund. And people who've bought it online, they've got to talk to Sony and Microsoft and get a refund. So I hope CD Projekt Red tries and fixes this PR nightmare to please people, because people are furious. People are extremely angry, and they're rightfully furious. It's a game they waited for like what, 7-8 years. They've been speaking about this game for like 7 or 8 years, and when it turns out to be a disaster on previous gen consoles. So yeah, I hope CD Projekt Red fixes this mess. But in the meantime, for those who the game runs fine, if it runs fine for you, please continue to enjoy it. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and check out my channel. And if you like what you see, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video.